Now, no game is perfect, right? Every game has its ups and downs, its strong and its weak points. However, I feel like today I wanted to make a video talking about Borderlands 3's main strong points of a game and the reason why, people still play it up until now. Pushing almost 2 years, going on in September. People still play it every day, including me. Obviously, it's not the hottest popping game on the market these days, far from it. But it still has a pretty loyal, solid audience. And overall today, we go ahead, say some good things about it. And yeah, with all this stuff being said, let's just go ahead and talk about it. Guys, please feel free to let me know your favorite parts of this game down below in the comments. I want to know. But yeah, anyways, first things first, I gotta be honest, dude. Some of the main thing that I like about Borderlands 3 is definitely got to be the Vault Hunters, right? Now, people that have watched my channel, they know that I'm mostly a Flak and Moze player. I don't really play too much Amara or Zane. And me saying that my favorite part of this game is the Vault Hunters and only playing mostly just 2 out of 4 of them, that's speaking volume, right? So for instance, you got the boy Flak, who honestly, if you play him right, is just... He can be a little squishy, don't get me wrong, but god dang it, he can definitely put out some very, very high amounts of damage very quickly. He has some fun setups, for sure. When this game first came out, the pet was such a nuisance, was such a burden, more than a helpful ally. Now these days, after all the buffs and stuff like that, the pet can actually hold its own, and you can make like actual working pet builds. You can make Jerome style builds. You can make, obviously, Gamma Burst builds. You can make insta-kill, you can make Rack Peregrine builds, Rack Nova builds, you know what I'm saying? Then obviously you have Fadeaway, 3-shot Fadeaway, Gorillas in the Mist. You have a lot of stuff you can play around with Flak. And overall, Flak's very fun. He's the first character I played with for a reason. Obviously you have my other character that I like to play a lot, which is Moze, the gunner. Moze just is like one of those characters, like, you can basically make any gun work well with her. Any gun that does basic splash damage is obviously going to be very, very strong. And just be very, very useful. She obviously is very good with splash weapons, fire weapons. She has relatively decent lifesteal. Russian offensive and redistribution are decent. Vampire is also pretty good as well. It's not the most perfect lifesteal, but it gets the job done. Also, total side note, but if you're using the crate, you're just chilling the entire time anyways. Also, if you want, you can always use a sapper class mod and give yourself lifesteal like that if you want to. You have the option. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of it. Much more of a fan of a blastmaster and a minesweeper and then bloodletter for certain situations. But the sapper is good. I know a lot of people that do like it. Speaking of these legendary class mods, I gotta be honest with you, dude. The legendary class mods in this game, for the most part, are relatively good, and I would say most of them came out in either the base game or the earlier DLCs. For me, for Moze, right, I use 3 main class mods, and I just listed them, right? Blastmaster, Minesweeper, and the Bloodletter. Those are all base game class mods. Flak, I like to use the Cosmic Stalker. I like to use the Bounty Hunter. And I really like to use a stack bot as well. And then obviously for Gamma Burst builds, I like to use a Red Fang. 3 out of 4 of the class mods I just listed are base game class mods. You feel me? Then, for Amara, you have things like the Spiritual Driver, the Phaserker, stuff like that. And then obviously Zane. Now Zane is kind of the exception to where the his best comms are definitely in the DLC. You have things like Seeing Dead, stuff like that. But for the most part, dude, the class mods in this game are really, really good. Also, the overall skill trees for this game are pretty dang good. Plus, when the game came out, we were capped at level 50, but over time, we've gotten to the point where we now have level 65, and we're sitting with a smooth, sweet 63 skill points when it takes only 26 skill points to max out a tree and get a capstone. That's very good, allowing for a lot of leeway for double capstone builds, which is obviously very, very nice. And a lot of capstones in this game are pretty solid for the most part. You do have a few duds and stuff like that. For instance, for the longest time, Flak's dominance perk was such a dud, was so bad. It's a lot better these days. You can get it to proc with a crit, and it's not bugged. It's much better than it was when it first came out. And then, you obviously have things like Megavar. You have things like the Power Inside. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really use the purple tree for Flak ever. So, I'm not a really too big fan of that tree. But I will say, being able to double your shield is pretty nice on action skill use, which is very, very useful. Then, you know, for moze, you obviously have the best of the best and short fuse, just it's so good. It's so good, so good. Everyone knows how good short fuse is. Don't need to talk about it. Short fuse, obviously, very, very good. Then you have things like bottomless or forge. I mean, forge is good. The bigger the mag on your weapon is, which honestly is very good for the synergy on the entire bottomless mag skill tree. Overall, having the actual capstone synergize is very, very good, and overall pretty useful. But it's only truly good the bigger your mag size is. You know, for certain, you know, low mag weapons, it's really not all that useful, but you know, it's still very, very good. Then, you know, you have things like the red tree capstone, which never been a big fan of that one. And then honestly, the purple capstone, I don't go that far into the purple tree for moze that much at all. See, the thing is that I felt like flak and moze got the weakest of the new of the added 4 skill trees, in my opinion. I don't even really use them all that much at all. I still mainly use the main 3 that came out with the base game. But that's just my opinion. I know for Zane and Damara, they're absolutely disgusting, especially for Zane for a fat minute. You get things like commitment and just running rampant, just ruining all types of just existence for the poor mobs in the game. You know what I'm saying? Now, I will say, this game's Mayhem system was definitely rocky and buggy for a long time. You know, when Mayhem 3 was the highest, it was so random. Every time you loaded up the game, your modifiers would be random. They added Mayhem 4, which was a lot more consistent with the modifiers you were going to get. And then when they added Mayhem 10, it was kind of a mess. I mean, and then over time, they've definitely smoothed it out. Mayhem 11 is a lot smoother to play than when Mayhem 10 first came out. A lot less, you know, pure chaos with all the modifiers running rampant through you. I mean, for the most part, you know, it does sting not having speed demon, but I like playing on Mayhem 11. I don't mind just running through, you know, the enemy's health and armor casually. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome. And then, you know, honestly, dude, we gotta be honest with you. The weapons in this game, the legendaries, are really, really strong. And I will say they've done a good job with making, like, you know, Mayhem 4, well, Mayhem 4 weapons not so much these days, but like Mayhem 6 and DLC weapons being very, very good and worth your time getting. You know, you know what I'm saying? You get things like the Chaos Sand, you get things like the Monarch, Backburner, you get the Plague Bearer, you get the Reflux. And then you have a lot of other just really solid base game weapons, like the Crit. You have things like, you know, the Maggie's very good. You have, like, the Becca got a recent buff. It's really good. You have the Red Line, which is a godsend. It's so good. You have, obviously, things like the Hellwalker as well. You have a lot of really good weapons to choose from inside of this game. And it's overall very, very easy to get a pretty decent pool of somewhat solid weapons and get your first build going if you are new to the game. And then if you're, you know, if you've been playing the game for a minute, you know, you're farming, you know, new gear for new builds and stuff like that. Pretty decent replayability. I mean, the end game in this game in Borderlands 3 is not the most jaw-dropping impressive experience. It's basically all the loot you're trying to chase and the builds you're creating, rather than like a true amazingly impossible challenge that you got awaiting you. But overall, though, that is going to just about wrap up the video, guys. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions on your favorite things about Borderlands 3 down in the comments below. I want to know. If you are new around here and do like daily content, please consider subscribing as we post daily content. We're on the road to 10,000 subs, trying to hit that by the end of the year. So, yeah, hope y'all enjoyed, though, guys. My name's Kree, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.